don't have.
For example, in Austin, they went to 100 degrees yesterday, and overnight low tonight down in the 50s. Now, let's move on and take a look at our predictions for daytime highs that are expected on Thursday. And you can see that cool weather does make its way to the East Coast, with 70s for highs as far south as Mississippi and central Georgia, too. In the west, however, it remains warm, but I mentioned earlier the cold front coming in through the northwest. Here you can see the cooler air in association with that. A look at our forecast weather map now indicates the frontal boundary as it continues its very slow trek through the east. It has been so slow that some of the rainfall amounts are quite heavy and are expected to be quite heavy in the upper Mississippi, upper Ohio River Valley, maybe as much as 3 inches of rainfall before it's all over. Here comes the weather system in from the northwest. You can see the double-barrel cold front here, and that's the reason things will be cooling off in that area. Still the monsoonal moisture from the south bringing moisture into the southwest, and so some afternoon thunder showers will certainly be found there. Take a look now at a few specific forecasts for cities all across North America. .600 cities and 4-day forecast available at CNN.com. I'll be back in the next half hour and we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast, so don't go anywhere. Now, CNN Today continues.
In Bosnia-Herzegovina, it is a tense game of seeing what happens next. American peacekeeping troops are manning roadblocks in the Serb town of Zvornik to protect civilians from possible fighting between rival factions. The Bosnian Serb president, Biljana Plavsic, today accused foes loyal to indicted war criminals out of Ankaradžić of attempting to oust her in a coup. She says Monday's abortive rally was aimed at removing her from power. NATO troops prevented the rally from taking place. Well, many Bosnians have little time for politics. They are consumed with the struggle of trying to put their lives back together.
And CNN's Gary Tuckman in New York has their story.
Habiba Kurtovic is a Bosnian refugee who fled to Austria in 1992. She is now visiting New York City, where she shows off some of her artwork at an exhibit at the New York School of Interior Design.
It's very special when you're making art. It's a very good thing to forget the nightmares.
The nightmares of this war-exiled woman are almost incomprehensible. Habiba, who lives in this home with her twin 26-year-old daughters, says the 3 of them were raped by Bosnian Serbs in the presence of her husband. Then her husband was taken as a prisoner, and she hasn't heard from him since. Now she participates in a program called Susret, which is Bosnian for encounter. Working with a psychotherapist in Austria, dozens of Bosnian women are rebuilding their sense of hope by expressing themselves through weaving and needle arts.
Art is a great healer for everybody, for everyone, and especially for war-traumatized women.
So far, 144 textile artists from 22 countries have donated designs for the women, who handcraft their art and then enable themselves to make a decent living by selling it.
We have carpets, we have rugs, we have tapestries, and we have quilts.
What you're looking at now is the U.S. premiere of the Susret Encounter Artists and Refugees exhibition. The pride is more than evident.
I have faith and self-confidence again working with this program.
Slavica Anchevska also left Bosnia for Austria with her husband after he got out of a Serb prison. Her carpets are also on display, as are her strong feelings about this program.
Every single part of these carpets are emotion and hope.
It's not as if psychological scars have completely disappeared, but this program has dramatically improved spirits and has made these women realize that, in a sense, rebuilding their lives is an art. Gary Tuckman, CNN, New York.
And still ahead on the CNN Today for a Wednesday, a look at possible changes ahead for tobacco advertising. If you think you know how much tar and nicotine is in your cigarette, you may be in for a surprise.
And we'll be talking with a man who has invented a new way to handle those pesky telemarketers. He says, let your butler do the talking.
Of course.
Of course. We'll explain when we return.
This is the place for lively conversation with top newsmakers and celebrities and your phone calls. This is CNN.
Believe me, I'd love to telecommute. I'd trade an hour in the car for an hour working. I just don't know company policy about employees working at home.
I leave the car home once a week and carpool with the guys, but I need it at work. Well, not every day. Most days. Okay, sometimes. It's there if I need it.
TCI.
Movies.
To become famous, you need the right look.
You guys look great in red. Have I told you that yet?
A catchy name.
Wonder.
And a good manager.
It's very important you don't stink today. Hey, I make no guarantees.
But to stay on top, you need more than one snappy tune.
Top 10 in best ever teen sensation.
Are those prescription, or are you just trying to look cool? Well, I am the drummer.
That Thing You Do on HBO and TCI. Crossfire, tonight, 7:30 Eastern on CNN.
We are just getting word from Capitol Hill that the Senate Armed Services Committee, the committee that has been taking testimony from General Harry Shelton to become chairman of the U.S. Military Joint Chiefs of Staff, has unanimously recommended that appointment by President Clinton to the full Senate. Again, the vote unanimous for General Henry Shelton to succeed Army General John Shalikashvili as the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. We'll keep you posted. Natalie?
Other top stories we're following: prescription drugs as well as alcohol may have played a role in the car crash that killed Princess Diana. Paris prosecutors say a new test confirms that the driver of Diana's car had a blood alcohol level above the legal limit. The test also shows traces of 2 drugs that could have impaired Henri Paul's driving. The drugs are fluoxetine, the active ingredient in the antidepressant drug Prozac, and Tiopride, which is often used to treat alcohol withdrawal. Former Agriculture Secretary Mike Espy entered a not guilty plea today to charges he accepted gifts and gratuities. Espy, who resigned from President Clinton's cabinet 3 years ago, appeared in a Washington court this morning. The judge announced the next hearing will be held December 15th, but did not schedule any trial date. Espy is accused of accepting $35,000 in gifts from agriculture businesses. He says he's looking forward to telling his side of the story.
And Sean Calebs has been watching things in New York, financially speaking. He's joined us now to tell us what's going on. Sean?
Lou and Natalie, first we're going to tell you about airline ticket prices, which are moving up and down as much as stock prices. Late last week, major carriers hiked airfares by 5%, but on Monday, a computer glitch apparently wiped out the fare hike at United Airlines. So nervous rivals pulled back as well. But late yesterday, those fares were about 5% higher again. Airline stocks moved sharply higher on the initial fare hike, but are not moving very much today. Overall, the stocks on Wall Street are heading south. The Dow Jones Industrial's down more than 71 points right now. The level 77.80 near the low for the session. Investment bank J.P. Morgan losing $2.75, now at 111 7/8. And in a down market, AT&T is up just about $1. The broader markets are also all lower, with the NASDAQ composite down more than 11 points. Long-term interest rates in the bond market continue to climb. The yield is up at 6.65%. One market watcher says this month's Federal Reserve meeting will set the mood on Wall Street.
If the Fed does not raise rates, which I don't think that they will do this month, if we start to see bond yields come back down a little bit, and if we start to see third quarter earnings that are going to be very strong, what that's going to do is set us up for, I think, potentially a speculative blow-off where people are going to throw in the towel who had been very cautious.
The Fed's next policy-making meeting is scheduled for September 30th. That's a look at business news. I'm Sean Calebs in New York. CNN Today continues right after this.
Are you paying 14, 15, 16% on a 125 no equity second mortgage? Have you recently applied for one of these loans? Pay off credit cards, do home improvements, get cash for the things you really want. With your excellent credit, Dytek can offer you a 125 with a rate as low as 9.5%, APR 11.083%.
9.5%? How does Dytek do that?
It's simple, it's easy, it's smart money from Ditech Funding. Call 1-800-71-FIXED.
It takes this much paper to buy a printer or copier, and this much paper to stop it. Get Hammerman, the paper that works.